You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show. Hello and welcome to Movie Vaders with the Farx brothers. I'm Kirk.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're joined by musician, festival director, and Bigfoot researcher, Adam Colt. Today we're going to be discussing Sasquatch Sunset. This is the non-spoiler segment. How would you like to start?
Adam, you didn't get a chance to pick a movie like most do.
Wait, Adam didn't pick this movie?
No, I thrusted upon him at the
It was perfect, though. It was a perfect thrust.
Because I knew. That's what my wife says. Sorry. This is the perfect for the show. Okay, so people will find out later in your interview that you got into Bigfoots like a couple of years ago, and that as is apparent will be throughout and in your interview, you're a guy who figures stuff out with your mind. And so could you give some of your bona fides on being a Sasquatch hunter?
Yeah, so it all started when my kid came home from school and said, I want to do it was actually like really having a big shit-eating grin on his face. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, I talked my teacher into letting me do an oceanography report on the Loch Ness Monster. And I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I'm like, I was so happy. So I'm like, I want to take him over to Scotland, hang out around Loch Ness, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be expensive. We're going to have to buy airfare and hotel, and we're going to have to be there for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is.
A month.
A month to see Nessie. And I said, do we have something in the United States? And I'm like, oh yeah, we got Sasquatch. We got a lot of other things. We got Mothman, we got Dogman, we've got
Hodag.
And we've got Ogopogo. So we got a lot of things here that may or may not be there. But I'm like, so I started looking into Sasquatch, and I came across the Patterson-Gimlin film from the 60s. And it was early 2000s, and the internet was still newish, and YouTube was, I'm not even sure if it was around yet, but I found the video. It was unstabilized, it was really raw, and I watched it, and something hit me. And being a guy, right?
Being a guy, bro.
It's like, I was realizing that the whole Occam's razor thing, it's like the simplest answer must be the real answer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All things being equal. And I'm like, there is no way that two cowboys from the 60s would buy a monkey suit and put boobs on it. And there's boobs on the Bigfoot in the Sasquatch, in the Patterson-Gimlin film. And they didn't have silicone back then, and even the guy who made the costumes for Planet of the Apes has talked about that particular video and said, this is not a costume, And I'm like, so right away for me, it was like, it's got to be real. This is authentic footage, and if there's one, there's probably more. Right. And I'm like, I'm not a film guy, but I'm a video guy. I'm a technical guy. I'm going to figure out how to be the guy who gets the clear shot, not the fuzzy, blurry, whatever. And I'm going to try to do it. But it's almost too late now because AI is out, and even if I had the great shot, everyone would say, no, you faked it.
Yeah.
So,
but you'll know.
But I'll know, and my friends will believe me. And I'll be like, this is legit. I mean, I brought in a cast of a Sasquatch foot, and you guys see it here. We don't know what it is. I didn't see it, but it's a big footprint.
Couldn't it just be Lee Fillingsness walking through the woods without his shoes on? Take that, Lee. You called me a hobbit at the after party.
Yeah, well, if he's got a 16-inch long, foot,
yeah,
6 inches wide, yeah, there you go.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, and it was deep. It was deep in the mud. And I'm just like, wow. And I was walking in the same area, and I was not sinking as deep as this thing was. Matter of fact, it was so deep, I ran out of casting material, and I couldn't even get the toes because the toes had slipped down the hill, and it was a different elevation. And
so you believe Sasquatch is out there?
I do. 100%. I'm a believer.
You're a believer.
But I'm not. I haven't seen it yet. I did have a lot of really strange stuff happen to me when I was doing my 30 days in the woods alone. I was in the hammock. Something came up behind me and growled at me with a really low voice. Yeah, could it have been a bear? Probably not. I can't rule it out.
Okay.
But if it was a bear, I think I would have seen it. Because I hustled my butt out of that hammock pretty quick.
What about a black bear? Could have been. Was it dark out?
What? No, it was midday. It was, yeah, I was hanging out. I was just watching the sky in the hammock, killing some time, and it came up and growled at me, and I'm just like, wow. It snapped a tree nearby, and that's why we found the footprint, because another Bigfoot researcher came out and he said, where did you hear the tree snap? And I said, from over in that direction. And he actually took it upon himself to walk out into the marsh, into the bog where we got the footprint. And he was the one who just, we got the cameraman to go out there with us, and we all discovered it in real time together, which was kind of cool.
Wait, okay, so how does somebody present as a Bigfoot expert to you? Like, how do you know they're not just full of it?
I don't know if there's any real experts. There's a lot of people, I got a friend who's got Bigfoot on his property, he says. He says he's seen him 6-7 times, midday, all that stuff.
Owes him money, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Heard him speaking, walking through this yard and stuff like that.
Like speaking English?
No, it's they call it samurai speak.
Samurai,
It sounds, I'll do an example. It's like, it sounds like that. It's really interesting.
You want to piss Nathan Black off? Is do that in improv with one of the guys that was in 2 different Z-Fest movies. I saw him do that. And I saw him at Z-Fest, and I told him, man, you pissed Nathan Black off when you were doing improv with him. And I can't remember why we went. I think we knew the stand-up. Oh, one of our guys we were writing with was doing improv with them at the time. So I need to tie my shoe right now. Like that kind of, like how people used to do that. Like, oh, it's a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look over there,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's obviously terrible. No one should do that.
Right.
Right now on this podcast.
They call it samurai.
They call it samurai speak.
In the Bigfoot community.
In the Bigfoot community. Well, yeah. And the best example of it is probably what we call the Sierra sounds that were recorded in the Sierra Nevadas.
Okay.
And they were back recorded on analog reel-to-reel back in the day on a Nagra machine.
A Nagra machine?
Yeah, it's like a professional sound devices. Like the on-set sound guys would have used them to record movies on on-set sound.
You pointed at Kirk when you said that.
So. Yeah, you know what a Nagra is, right?
Sound guy, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Old school reel-to-reel.
It's crazy.
Pre-cassette tape.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty old.
That is old. Pre-cassette tapes. They used to have 8-tracks. Have you ever heard of those, Kirk?
Yeah, I've heard of them, but never used them. Never seen them.
Never seen them?
I've heard of them, yeah.
I've seen a car with an 8-track player.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would Sasquatch be in Nevada? Isn't that a little too hot?
Sierra Nevadas.
Oh.
Sierra sounds.
So like Colorado or
the California.
Northern California. I failed American geography.
And that kind of correlates with the whole Patterson-Gimlin film in Northern California too. And I do have an expedition planned out there this year, this summer. So I'm going to go out there to the original film site.
Are you going to do like a month, or are you going to do like?
No, my son and my brother are going on that one, so we're only going to do a week.
How much food do you have to pack for that? Are you backpacking the entire time, or how do you get all this stuff?
No, I try to drive in. Okay. I try to get in as far as I can, and then we'll set up a base camp there, and then during the day we'll hike out, and we'll But there are Forest Service roads that usually go in. A lot of them aren't cleared, so we'll have to pull some boulders off the side of the road and clear and chainsaw some trees. It'll be hard to get in there.
And we'll make sure this doesn't get to the authorities. Do you have to take permits for any of this?
I looked and I talked to the Forest Service office out there, and they do not require permits for those.
Yeah, he's done his homework.
So I do my homework.
You figure S out, as you have said before, and I appreciate about you. We've been going for a third of the show already. Haven't talked about the movie. Did you guys like it?
Go ahead, Adam.
No.
What?
Oh, no.
You don't like this movie?
I also didn't like this movie.
I think it's... I know what they did. I know what they did for this movie.
What do you mean you know what they did?
I know what they did. It's an art film. It's not a Sasquatch film. It's an art film.
Oh, that's why I liked it.
It's a jab at the art film community.
What? Say more, please.
It's like if we're sitting in a room together and we're like, okay, we need to make a film. Let's make it so bad to watch this thing. How can we do that? Let's make sure there's no dialogue in it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do that.
No, I have to hard disagree there because have you seen Flow or Robot Dreams?
No.
Okay, watch Flow.
Hang on.
Okay.
And then they're like, what else can we do? Well, everything disgusting. And this is spoilers, so I can't say it yet.
Yeah.
But everything disgusting, anything we can think of. let's put it in this film.
Oh man, that's again, you're naming all the things that are good about this to me.
No, they're horrible. It's
Sorry,
horrible.
continue.
So, and then just for me personally, because I really enjoy the subject of Sasquatch, and I really think that they are highly intelligent. I think they're highly elusive. They might be transdimensional. You know, there's a whole bunch of things that.
Wait, do you believe in trans dimensions?
I believe in the multiverse, yeah, 100%. So
Explain what you mean by the multiverse, please. Not all of us are into Marvel.
There is basically like sliders. There's parallel dimensions. Any possible decision you could have made has been made, and every decision has been out there, you know what I'm saying? And there's multiple dimensions that are stacked on top of each other. You've heard of the Mandela effect, right?
The Nelson Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Where like we thought Nelson Mandela did something, but he didn't.
Yeah,
but
or
maybe
he died in prison, but he didn't.
Oh, okay, but he didn't.
That's the original.
He
He did do violence to get into prison, but I support it after watching Andor season 2.
Okay.
That's not
right.
how I actually came to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mandela effects. Like one of the big ones is Luke, I'm your father.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't say that.
He doesn't say it. It's no, I'm your father. It doesn't. He doesn't say Luke, I'm your father.
And you forgot the
Luke, I say other things, and now, no, I'm your father.
And another big one for me was an interview with a vampire.
Uh-huh.
I remember specifically seeing a big A on the poster, interview with a vampire, and then now it's interview with the vampire.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a different timeline.
Well, or
How does that relate to Sasquatch? How is he trans-dimensional?
I guess they can pop in and out of our dimension. Now, I'm trying to be, we call that high strangeness in the field.
high strangeness?
High strangeness is
Like how high do you have to get to be Doctor Strange?
Wow.
well, it used to be called woo, as in woo.
Oh,
you know?
woo-woo.
Yeah, woo-woo, yeah.
Yeah.
And they found that offensive, so now they're calling it high strangeness.
To the woos? To John Woo? Or
to the people that research Bigfoot.
I see.
Yes.
With the
So because there's two
women?
camps. There's the flesh and blood camp, where it's just another monkey in the woods, right?
Well, primate, excuse
Primate,
me.
yes.
Because a monkey has a tail, and it's a product of its own evolution.
There you go. So another primate in the woods, right? And then there's it is a teleporting, trans-dimensional, and mind speak. Have you guys heard of mind speak?
No.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So that's when witnesses have had telepathic thoughts with Bigfoot.
So not only is it
Yeah.
trans-dimensional, it's telepath.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I want... Have you seen Harry and the Hendersons?
No, I actually haven't.
What the...
I mean, I know what it is. I know it's an old school comedy, but yes.
My whole family watched that entire movie because I was showing the older Farxling clips on YouTube, and then I bought the movie for more than I should have paid for it on Blu-ray. Like $12 or $13 is more than I should have had to pay for it. But now we own it, and we watched it as an entire family, and it was delightful, and I look forward to doing it again.
We do that every year with the holiday Christmas special.
The holiday... Oh, yes. That...
Yes,
they do that charity event. Are you aware of the charity event?
We've been 3 or 4 years, yep.
Excellent.
Yes, we've
That's
done
from a guy who now runs events at the Mall of America.
Okay.
Which I know from Matt Osterman's podcast. Both of you guys, come on.
Well, just to get back to it.
Bigfoot? Back to trans-dimensional telepathic Bigfoot?
All right, so I am trying to stay in the flesh and blood camp.
Okay.
However, I've been invited up by the high strangeness community this summer to go sit in a tent and bring no equipment and just commune with Bigfoot. And I'm going to do it. I'm gonna take my, put my gear aside, and I'm gonna go up and gather no evidence of Bigfoot, but I'm going to have an experience with them.
You're going to do ayahuasca with these people. I want you to know now.
Yeah, no. It's just sitting alone in a teepee is what it is, or a sort of tent. He won't let me bring my teepee up either. So
Wait, why is the tent okay, but the teepee's not?
that's a good question. I think the teepee's a little bit more set up. And
Yeah,
more,
it's a big teepee.
Have you seen
I
it?
saw the video, yeah.
It's big.
It's huge.
It's legit.
Sasquatch is thinking I want to interact with a giant
I
teepee.
like the concept. Okay, so the teepee was kind of a weird situation, but I was in Colorado and I drove past, I was driving to the Royal Gorge, which is a nice scenic location, and there is this yurt rental community right off the side of the highway, and they have like luxury yurts that you can rent. And I'm like, that's awesome. I want to buy a yurt, right? So I was looking on Craigslist for a yurt for like 2 years. Nothing popped up really. And eventually a teepee popped up. And I'm like, I could do a teepee. That's close enough to a yurt for me. And so I bought a teepee.
Does it have a big hole at the top?
Yeah.
And does stuff get in there?
Yeah, it's open. It's legit. It's a very Sioux Indian style. It's made by the same people who did Dances with Wolves, all those teepees. It's Nomadic Teepee Company.
Tatanka.
And they're legit. Yeah. These things are huge. Now I hate the fact that they're made by, non-indigenous people, but the point is
we're not going to give the land back at this point.
Yeah. So
sorry, that's the thing I always think is give the land back or don't. I'm sorry, but yes, obviously.
Yes.
So you believe in flesh and blood Bigfoot?
I definitely believe in flesh and blood, but I'm open to the possibility of the high strangeness.
Transdimensional, possibly telepathic being that it explains why we haven't been able to find it yet, because anytime someone gets close, it's like, nope, into the universe where they already know about Bigfoots. Ha ha!
Yeah.
I don't think it would travel to a universe where they know about Bigfoot.
Well,
They
many
probably
opportunities exist, obviously. Haven't you seen Doctor Strange?
Yeah,
the Multiverse?
but I don't think they would do that. They would probably want to stay hidden at all times. So you think be unbothered, be untethered.
Why wouldn't they just become invisible instead of
Cloaking, they do cloak according to the high strangeness community.
Okay, is that where
It's
they do the Predator?
Just like Predator.
They do the
And there is
Predator.
a film out there that shows it. So there's a piece of evidence out there.
A piece of narrative film, or like a supposedly real,
Found
It's
tape?
supposedly real.
supposedly real, where a Bigfoot cloaks.
Yep.
Like a chameleon.
And it looks like the Predator effect. You can see the light kind of bending off of it a bit.
I may have mixed some cough medicine with other things accidentally once, and thought that I could, see all of time and space.
Yeah.
I don't know that I
Well, we
hold
don't.
space for these ideas.
We're talking about the movie, so we don't need to go into high strangeness at all tonight.
No, I love, let me tell you something. I did not know there was that, and I am so excited. So do you think Bigfoot is even an animal? Because, my questions are all do you think it grooms? Is it made for life? But it's do you even see it as an animal, or is it like a higher being?
As a Bigfoot hunter,
Yes.
if it can pop out of existence at a whim's notice, I don't have much of a chance of catching it.
Yeah.
So I want to stay in the flesh and blood camp. I want to say, yes, it's just another flesh and blood creature that we haven't found yet. They're very elusive. They're very intelligent. They have their own language, And I thought for a while, my own gut feeling was like, okay, we've got another creature on this planet that is bipedal, opposable thumbs, vocabulary.
Wait, we know they have opposable thumbs?
Yep.
How?
Eyewitnesses.
Also the foot, right? Yeah.
We have
5
handprints.
toes.
We have handprints with dermal ridges.
They don't have tools, though.
They don't use tools much.
I mean, technically they use a tool in the movie, bang that tree with that stick.
Yeah, they get
That could be a
sticks and
tool.
rocks.
Yeah.
That's like saying a dog uses tools because it fetches a stick.
Yeah, they don't.
That's not
I
a
don't want to
tool.
insult the
That's
Bigfoots here.
Technically,
yeah. As far as we
it
know,
doesn't use it. A dog doesn't use a stick.
as far as we know, they don't use tools. They do build structure. So okay, so getting.
But then they turn. Okay, wait. Go to your notes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the things they got right in the movie.
Please.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay, so this is some of the things, and this is not spoilers. This is just stuff
Not
they got
spoilers,
right.
yeah.
So they do graze and forage. Okay.
Yeah.
They do scream and yell. They do knock on wood. They do break trees. I'm sure that they procreate. So
Wait, I'm sorry. How do you know they break trees?
well, personally, they broke a tree right next to me theoretically, but again, it's hard to prove these things.
Yeah, Cal, come on.
Because
Keep your mind
all
open
I got is audio.
to the universe.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
exactly.
I believe it's out there.
Okay. Theoretically, they procreate, so there's some humping. They do have gray hair. They got that right.
Wait, what do you mean? Because they age.
Gray fur, gray hair. It's hair.
Does it become hoary, or is it?
Well,
What?
in the film, the thing they got, and then I got a bunch of stuff they got wrong.
Okay.
But in the film, they got the color right, but they made all the Bigfoot the same color. In reality, there's auburn, there's black, there's brown, there's gray, there's white, there's abominable snowman white. There's all sorts of different colors.
Oh, so a Yeti and a Sasquatch are the same thing, just one's like
Theoretically.
from the north and one's from,
Yeah.
closer to the equator?
Yeah.
So you think they have furrists?
They have what?
Instead of racists, they have furrists?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not fur, it's hair. It's
hair.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Harris.
Harris.
Yeah, they got Harris.
They Harris each other.
They do
with the white
travel.
fur.
They and these are all theoretical. I mean, I haven't proven anything yet. They do travel in family units.
Sure.
They do have Sasquatches of different ages, and the young ones we call juveniles in the study.
I call them wooden youths.
Wooden youths. There you go.
Youths of the woods.
They do build tree structures. They do throw rocks. They do knock on rocks. They sleep in nests. They migrate and they cover large areas of land.
They're nomadic? Well, that was a question I had. Do you think they're nomadic?
They're migratory, I believe.
What's the difference between nomadic and migratory?
They might go to the same place. Nomadic, I don't think you never go to the same place.
Oh, so
Usually,
migratory is you're going back to the same
Yeah.
place like birds, but nomads move around and not know where they're
Yeah.
going. Cool.
I believe they do eat eggs. They are opportunistic about human livestock. So when they come across chickens or sheep or cows, they will take advantage of that sometimes. They also take advantage of cornfields and apple orchards and things, where we grow stuff. They'll come into the edges and they'll take fruit and corn.
And this is based on a collected evidence of
Collected
some kind?
researches
Yes.
around the country, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I think most Bigfoot researchers will agree with everything I'm saying right now.
Yeah, and please write in to the show, comment, all of that, please.
There has been some evidence of bark scraping, and they do make like Blair Witch style wreaths and stuff where they bend sticks.
Oh, yeah, that was a very poignant part of the movie for me.
Yeah. They're very curious. They got the
Georges.
noses right. Theoretically, their noses are very wide, but they're human-like. They're not ape-like.
How so?
Well, apes have that turned up nose, that's very unhuman-like. And Bigfoot theoretically have very human-looking facial features, but they have a very flat/wide nose. And many of the people that have seen Bigfoot say their skin can be really dark black, too.
Like a polar bear.
Like
Polar bears
polar-
have black skin but white hair.
There you go.
I knew that, but not where the Sierra Nevadas were.
Theoretically, there's an alpha male that can lead the pack sometime. They have been known to be very horny,
No kidding.
okay,
Yeah.
which is obviously presented in the film. They have been known to have intercourse with horses.
What?
And-
whoa.
And they
Explain that.
I can't explain it, but
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I know how, one piece goes in the other.
evidence after the fact is the fact that the horses' manes have been braided.
Whoa,
Yes.
whoa,
So
wait.
I think they call them witch knots or something like
Is that done after or during?
We don't know. I mean, no one's filmed it yet. So yeah, I want to get out there and I want to film this stuff.
Wait. So you see a Sasquatch giving it to a horse, and the horse is
We don't know.
consenting. Okay.
But theoretically, this is what happened.
What, you think the horse would be giving it to the Sasquatch?
No, the Sasquatch is giving it to the horse.
Got it. And then maybe it's braiding its hair while it's...
Exactly. They are an apex predator, and they do whoop to each other. Whoop, whoop, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They do walk on the ridges of mountains, so they're called ridge walkers as well.
Oh,
So they walk along the top of the edge. There is a Willow Creek Bigfoot Museum. They got that right. And then Bigfoots do encroach on human property. They are very interested in us sometimes. And there have been reports of them like peering in windows and, coming back to the same houses time and time again, looking and walking through their yards, things like that. So that's all the stuff they got right.
I'm fascinated by this. Can you, in non-spoilers, can you share non-spoiler things they got wrong?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, man, this is so good.
They are nocturnal theoretically, so they usually sleep during the day.
oh,
So they walk around mostly at night and hunt at night.
So they get too hot otherwise.
We don't know, but theoretically, now there's a lot of daytime sightings, so it's not exclusively nocturnal, but mostly nocturnal. The one thing that they got really wrong for me was when they came up on their food sources, their berries and their mushrooms and the animals.
Bugs, whatever.
They were always looking like, what is this?
yeah.
It's a
curious about
raspberry.
it.
No way. These guys live in the woods. They know exactly what their food is. They
I'll
know
bet you on that.
They know exactly when it's ripe. Yeah,
the
go ahead.
juvenile was the one they were usually seeing that through. I guess I would harken to the turtle. The juvenile is unfamiliar with the turtle, but then the other ones try to, as I saw it, evaluate the turtle's complaint. We can debate that in spoilers.
Isn't that a spoiler to pick up a turtle? I don't know.
It's not a spoiler to pick up. We'll talk. Shell phone, baby.
And they did treat the turtle like a cell phone.
That shell phone is a Ninja Turtle thing because they had shell phones back in the.
There you go.
Okay.
And that really bothered me because, but they are right in the fact that Bigfoot is known to be a mimic. It mimics human behavior. It mimics other animal sounds. And
did you like seeing real animals in the movie? That to me was what really like grounded the movie and made it even better for me. Is that they filmed
the real animals?
The skunk and the
that they filmed all those animals because they were afraid. If you listen to the directors, they were afraid how the animals react to the Bigfoot costumes.
No reaction at all.
Exactly, because they don't care. Nature doesn't care.
Or they're used
Nature's
to
metal.
Exactly.
They know about the Sasquatches, and they won't tell us.
Something else they got wrong is there's probably no short and old Bigfoot.
No short or old Bigfoot.
Right. Bigfoot are huge. Bigfoot are very tall. And they're short when they're juveniles. They're short when they're young. But they're not short when they're old. Even the females are approaching 7 foot. So the fact that they had these actors playing these short, dumpy, fat Bigfoot was wrong.
Wait, so the smaller one wasn't a juvenile? Was that a full-blown
I don't think
Bigfoot?
so.
I thought the small one was definitely a juvenile.
I
would argue for that.
They looked really haggard.
Yeah, they
You know,
did.
and I'm not sure.
Okay.
So I thought it was a juvenile the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, it didn't seem so juvenile.
Because he
to
didn't
me.
grow during any of the seasons either.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily grow like that. I thought it got hairier, but
It looked older to me. They do have a language, so just screaming and grunting is not what they do. They actually communicate with each other like we do.
were you touched by this movie?
In a bad way.
No,
Angered by
I was
it, yeah.
genuinely. I felt happy and I felt sad for the Sasquatches.
What? Okay.
And
Why?
Mrs. Farx did too.
I was too angry about the film to be happy or sad.
Sorry.
I was way too angry about all the things they did to me.
To get
Yeah.
it wrong.
Yeah, they get wrong. Synchronized stick banging. That's stick banging or wood knocking is what we call it. Wood knocking is a form of communication, and they usually knock once or knock twice. Okay, but they rarely do they knock 3 times in a rhythmic thing. And in the movie, they did, knock, 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 and they all did it together. No, it's a call and response. It's like, hey, dude, I'm over here. Okay, I'm over here, and it's one knock, one knock.
Well, in the movie, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but are they trying to look for other Sasquatches?
I think they are in the movie. Yeah, they're knocking to see if there's other Sasquatches out there that they can, meet up with or whatever. I think that they're doing that, and that I guess technically they would have gotten right because I think they do communicate with each other. There are rumors of actually multitudes of them coming together. Because obviously they have to breed. So they have to meet other clans. It can't all be inbred.
Crossbreed across.
Yeah.
Like how very rigid religious groups in the United States will sometimes travel between areas where there are a lot. I grew up in a rural area with some rigid religious groups that I'm not naming, but I'm a Christian,
Right.
so I can be somewhat judgmental
There you go.
of other Christians.
Theoretically, the ones in the South have been cut off more than the ones in the North.
What's the South and North to a Sasquatch?
Well, like let's say skunk ape in Florida. It's called skunk ape down there because they live in the swamps.
There's
That's like the
Florida Sasquatches?
Michigan thing.
Yeah, there's Sasquatch in every state.
What's like the
Like
Michigan
the
thing?
upper Michigans are called uppies, and the lower ones are called trolls.
Yes.
the hell?
The,
Yeah.
the people from the Upper Peninsula are called uppies, and the people from the Lower Peninsula is called trolls. The term is even dumber than that. Youpers. As Adam found out.
Oh,
when he
Uper, is that uppers?
It's not uppers, it's Youpers. Yoopers. I hate it.
Nice.
I don't like it.
Wow.
I am from Well, obviously, my brother and I were separated at birth, and he grew up on the West Coast, and I grew up on the North Coast of the UP.
So, I'm going there to hunt Bigfoot tomorrow.
Nice.
When you say hunt, I don't feel that's the right term because you don't intend to like capture its pelt and throw it on your
No,
dining room
with a
floor.
camera.
What kind of camera are you going to use?
I have a variety of cameras. I have a couple GoPros. I have a bunch of security cams. I have a new 4K zoom cam that's got really good audio on it. So nothing really with the great lenses. We have brought out a Sony A7s and stuff like that. But the problem is like you're setting this equipment up in the woods and leaving it. So I'm not going to set a $4,000 camera rig up with a $2,000 lens on it and like leave it alone in the woods. So
Who knows
I
what the
try to
Sasquatch
figure
would do.
out the best way to accommodate having lots of coverage with inexpensive.
And you've never captured anything in the past 2 or 3 years that...
Well, I've got some. I sent you a clip this afternoon.
Oh, yes,
that we were
yes.
going to talk about.
Yes, we will review the clip between the non-spoiler and the spoiler section
Okay.
and start by talking about the spoiler.
Well, back to the skunk ape. Who came up with skunk ape?
That's a good question. I'm sure they stink really bad.
Back in the South?
That's
Alright.
probably why they're called skunk ape. But the southern ones, the reason I brought it up is because the southern ones don't have the giant forests that we have up north. They've been cut off by Tennessee and all those other states and stuff, so they can't migrate as well.
You're telling me like Kid Rock in Nashville is screwing up like Sasquatch?
So it's a migration path. There you go.
Yeah.
But the point is, theoretically, they're more inbred in the South, which gives them more genetic defects and also a more angry temperament.
Man, those southern Sasquatches are more inbred and angry.
Yep, inbred and angry. Yeah, that's theoretically what they are.
You've only made me want to see a sequel to this movie. I genuinely liked this movie.
Oh my God.
My wife liked this movie. I didn't like. I've been surprised. She liked The Substance, which surprised me. And
All right.
Kirk came over and watched it with Mrs. Farx and I.
They pretty much said it on TV, on the internet. It said, Sasquatch Sunset is so relentlessly gross that people are walking out of the screening.
Pussies.
This was an absurdist family drama.
Yes.
And that describes the film to me as gross, disgusting, absurdist family drama.
Let's watch your video and go into spoilers.
I think that's a great place to end the non-spoiler segment. Catch you on the spoilers. Thank you for listening. For more on JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.